Hi there, and welcome to this third reading on short readings on faith, in which I can literally read a chapter of a book that I found helpful in exploring this subject. Today I'm reading from this book, Be Confident, by Warren Wiersbe. I think that's how you say his name. It's a study book, a New Testament study, and I found this quite helpful. I'm jumping straight to chapter 10, which talks about Hebrews chapter 11, which was a key chapter in a message I gave just a day or two ago, which you can see on Harvest Hamilton's YouTube channel if you're interested. It's entitled Faith, the Greatest Power in the World. Now it is a study book, so there's lots of cross references on, so I'll do my best to read it in a way that you can follow. But Faith, the Greatest Power in the World, from Hebrews 11. This chapter introduces the final section of the epistle, chapters 11 to 13, which I have called, says the author, a superior principle, faith. The fact that Christ is a superior person, chapters 1 to 6, and that he exercises a superior priesthood, chapters 7 to 10, ought to encourage us to put our trust in him. The readers of this epistle were being tempted to go back into Judaism and put their faith in Moses. Their confidence was in the visible things of this world, not the invisible realities of God. Instead of going on to perfection, maturity, they were going back to perdition, waste. You can read about that in chapter 6 verse 1 and chapter 10 verse 39. In this 11th chapter, all Christians are called to live by faith. In it, the writer discusses two important topics related to faith. The first, and the only one I'm going to read today, is the description of faith, chapter 11 verses 1 to 3. Now this is not a definition of faith, but a description of what faith does and how it works. True Bible faith is not blind optimism or a manufactured hope-so feeling. Neither is it an intellectual assent to a doctrine. It is certainly not believing in spite of evidence. That would be superstition. True Bible faith, says the author, is confident obedience to God's word in spite of circumstances and consequences. I'll read that again. True Bible faith is confident obedience to God's word in spite of circumstances and consequences. Let it soak into your mind and heart. This faith operates quite simply. God speaks and we hear his word. We trust his word and we act on it no matter what the circumstances are or what the consequences may be. The circumstances may be impossible and the consequences frightening and unknown, but we obey God's word just the same and believe him to do what is right and what is best. The unsaved world does not understand true Bible faith, probably because it sees so little faith in action in the church today. The cynical editor, H.L. Mencken, defined faith as, quote, illogical belief in the occurrence of the impossible, end quote. The world fails to realise that faith is only as good as its object, and the object of our faith is God. Faith is not some feeling that we manufacture. It's our total response to what God has revealed in his word. Now there are three words in Hebrews chapter 11 verses 1 to 3 that summarise what true Bible faith is: substance, evidence, and witness. The word translated substance means literally, quote, to stand under, to support, end of quote. Faith is to a Christian what a foundation is to a house. It gives confidence and assurance that he will stand or she will stand. So you might say, faith is a confidence of things hoped for. When a believer has faith, it is God's way of giving him or her confidence and assurance that what is promised will be experienced. The word evidence simply means conviction. This is the inward conviction from God that what he has promised, he will perform. The presence of God-given faith in one's heart is conviction enough that he will keep his word. The third word, witness, King James Version says, obtained a good report, is an important word in this chapter. It occurs not only in verse 2, but twice in verse 4, once in verse 5, and once in verse 39. The summary in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1 calls this list of men and women so great a cloud of witnesses. They are witnesses to us because God witnessed to them. In each example cited, God gave witness to that person's faith. This witness was his divine approval on their life and ministry. The writer of Hebrews makes it clear that faith is a very practical thing, verse 3, in spite of what unbelievers might say. Faith enables us to understand what God does. Faith enables us to see what others cannot see. Note chapter 11, verse 7, 13 and 27. As a result, faith enables us to do what others cannot do. People laughed at these great men and women when they stepped out in faith, but God was with them and enabled them to succeed to his glory. Dr. Oswald Saunders put it perfectly. Faith enables the believing soul to treat the future as present and the invisible as seen. I love that, so I'll read that again. Faith enables the believing soul to treat the future as present and the invisible as seen. The best way to grow in faith is to walk with the faithful. The remainder of this chapter is devoted to a summary of the lives and labours of great men and women of faith found in the Old Testament. In each instance, you will find the same elements of faith. 1. God spoke to them through his word. 2. Their inner selves were stirred in different ways. 3. They obeyed God. And 4. They bore witness about them. And the book goes on now to talk about the demonstration of faith and the different examples. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's a great little book, Be Confident by Warren Wiersbe. Have a great rest of the day.